Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational 80 Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but first, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Now, you've heard this before. These are all great companies. I used them as an AD. You should be using them too. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. You can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. Our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Go to huddle.com, join the millions of users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Things like scheduling, rosters, and results, facility management, communication. Home Campus does all of this and more, does it better and faster than the other platforms. And I didn't even mention athletic eligibility and clearance. That one alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com for more information. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade with their video boards, but their new content creation service takes it to a whole new level. Their talented team of writers and designers is going to take your history, your stories, your coaches, your kids, and turn them into compelling narratives that you can then post on social media. You really got to see it to believe it. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Click on Content Services. You're going to be glad you did. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the modern marketing platform that makes it easy for you to showcase all the great things your program is doing. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college programs. It's professional graphic design made easy. They're rated #1 for athletic marketing, in part because of the thousands of professionally designed templates that you can then customize with your brands, your logo, your colors. Create, share, and schedule all your social media content on one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. We also want to say thanks to Booster Hub, the #1 booster club software program. If you work with your boosters on volunteer signups, you know that volunteer changes are a daily occurrence. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same thing is true with sponsorship fees and concession sales. Booster Hub does it all. Give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. We also want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Speaking of #1, their program's consistently ranked at the top of all online master's programs. My assistant athletic director got his master's through the Ohio program, and while he was earning his degree, he also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Speaking of '1, Hometown continues to be the #1 digital ticketing provider for schools and colleges, but they also feature fee-free fundraising through School Funder, athletic website construction, and a whole lot more. Whether you're an athletic director, a head coach, even a principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time. They're going to show you how to raise more money, and they're going to show you how to bring your entire community together. You'll find it all at hometown.com. And finally, let's say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your players, your coaches, or your parents, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that truly connects you with everybody on your team. That's athleticsurveys.com. And for all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational 80 podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational ED Podcast. We're going to Indiana today, and we're going to be visiting with Josh Bowlds. Josh is a certified master athletic administrator. He's the director of athletics at Brown County High School. Of course, that's in Indiana. Excited to have him on the show. Josh Bowlds, welcome to the Educational ED Podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Well, you and I were talking. It's a little more of a relaxed time. It's summer for athletic directors. For our listeners, we're recording this on July 14th, so it'll be pretty timely as you listen to it. Josh, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us your quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up. Maybe just take us up through your college days, and then we'll take a break, hear about your career in the next segment. But what's the
Sure.
Josh Bowlds origin story?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised a Hoosier here in Indiana. I grew up in southwestern Indiana, a small rural community, but was fortunate to have very supportive parents and surrounded by a lot of supporting adults and good role models in my life. So, um, yeah, just kind of the traditional story of got involved athletics early on. I played basketball and golf. And then whenever I was in high school, I actually maybe took a little bit of an untraditional route. I was also the student manager for our football team. And I really think that that's kind of what got me plugged into, wanting to be a coach and then eventually an athletic director, because a little bit more so than the players, I was able to kind of see the behind the scenes um, as a student manager. So I learned a lot through that experience, and that's kind of what got me excited about wanting to work in athletics. And was actually fortunate in my early college days. I set out on a sports management track. I thought I wanted to work in collegiate and professional sports. That was my big dream. Worked as a student equipment manager at a Division II college in Kentucky. I ended up transferring down to your neck of the woods, Jake, and actually worked at Florida State University for
Okay.
1 year with the football program. Um, and when I was at Florida State, I decided I don't know if this whole college sports thing is for me. I wanted to kind of pivot and go back to the high school realm. So I transferred back home to Indiana, graduated from the University of Evansville with a secondary education degree, and kind of went down that teaching coaching route. So, yeah,
Well, I definitely want to take a dive into your Florida State days, but
yeah,
even going back to Indiana, growing up, before you got into high school, I always ask this question, but I'd love to hear the answers. I'm going to guess there was some driveway basketball involved, but were there other
sure.
sports that you were doing growing up?
Yeah, I was primarily plugged into basketball, and I started to play golf as I got, probably about middle school age. Kind of got plugged into that. I never, um, I never really played any other sports competitively, you know, but that was kind of my start. So yeah,
Now, you mentioned you were the manager for your high school football team. I think those types of experiences are just absolutely fantastic. And you mentioned, again, kind of gave you that behind the scenes look. And as you know, as a
yeah,
coach, as an AD, those kids that become managers, I mean, those guys and girls, they're gold. I mean, a good
yeah, yeah,
manager is like, an extra tailback sometimes, having
sure.
them in your program. What's your go-to football manager story that you can share with our listeners?
Oh gosh, trying to think back to either my high school or college days. I think. Um, just getting that behind the scenes look with the coaches, kind of getting plugged into some of those coaches meetings that I remember as a high school student, I probably heard some things I probably shouldn't always have heard, in the coach's office and those types of things. And so, but I was surrounded by really good people, really good mentors. And I think that's really the reason where I am today is because of them. So, yeah, I attribute a lot to that experience.
Yeah. Now, I always made a point to let our team know that, hey, that manager, uh, and I probably use these words, he's my manager. He's not your manager. So,
Right, right.
there wasn't going to be anything, going awry. I know, in the Ted Lasso show, Nate, the towel boy becomes, an assistant coach, through
Yeah.
that. But, did you have looking back, was it a positive experience for you as a team manager?
Oh yeah, super positive experience. Yeah. I remember sometimes, the coaches would, you know, let me call the scout team offense or, something like that, just give me those different experiences and, it made me feel valued and a part of the team and it was a great experience.
Oh no, absolutely. We'd have them hold up the cards in the huddle so they could see. All right,
Yeah,
this is what you're doing on this play. No, great memories.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what years? I'm curious. What year were you at Florida State?
I was at Florida State in 2018. Yeah,
Okay.
2018.
Okay, so
So that
we
was the
were just up the road. I was the athletic director during that time at the McClay School,
okay.
and so we were connected even though we didn't know it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Small world.
Okay. Um, You also mentioned that the college experience, and again, that's one of the reasons that getting as many experiences as possible is so valuable. You
Yeah.
realized, hey, maybe this isn't where I want to go, and you kind of made that pivot back to high school. Were you thinking at that time, oh, I just want to be a coach, or I want to be a PE teacher at the high school level? What were you thinking you were going to do high school wise?
Yeah, um honestly, whenever I made the change, I kind of had the mindset of I wanted to become an AD.
Oh, wow.
That's really kind of that was where my mind was. And um, I had talked to some ADs that I knew back home in Indiana about, what do you think would be more advantageous to go down this sports management route or, come back and get an education degree. And they suggested maybe pursuing that education degree and taking that route. And so um, yeah, and I had a lot of mentors growing up that always kind of encouraged me to be a teacher and a coach. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I want to go, work for the colleges, work for the pros. You have those big dreams, and then you realize it's maybe not all it's cracked up to be, and your perspective changes and things like that. So yeah,
But it's so important, to be able to have those experiences, and
yeah,
we hear it quite a bit from people who, from undergrads. Again, you don't know what you want to do. You don't know what you don't know. Um,
yeah,
but the sports management, the athletic administration. As undergrad, you're thinking, well, hey, I'm going to be an AD, and you're not going to get hired usually right out of college
right,
as an
right,
athletic director because they're looking for people who have those experiences working with students, working with teachers, working with parents, and the only
yeah,
way you get that is being a teacher. And so
right,
it's not what many undergrads want to hear. The sport
right,
management, that's a great degree, it's a great program, but that's probably more for somebody who's going to be staying in college. The college athletics because there's so
right.
many different branches you could head off to. Had you gone in that direction, I'm curious, had you gone the sport management route, was there a niche that you were looking at? Was it, coaching? Was it communications? Was it promotions? What do you think you might have ended up in?
Yeah, honestly, I think I might have found myself in the equipment room somewhere. That was kind of my background and what I was doing. And I know there was obviously, I think if I would have stayed at Florida State, that would have opened some doors, just with the level of institution and program that it is. And I enjoyed that work, and it was something I was familiar with, and I felt like I was good at it as well, but it just didn't feel like I was fulfilling my purpose, I guess,
Right.
doing that. So
Oh
yeah,
no, and that's
yeah,
exactly what we're looking for. We've actually had a couple
yeah,
of equipment people on the podcast,
yeah,
Division I and professional. So it's a
yeah,
great career, if that's what you
Yeah.
want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, let's go and take a quick break. Once again, our guest today is Josh Bowlds. He's a certified master athletic administrator, and he's the director of athletics for the Brown County School District. That's in Brown County, Indiana. Let's take that break, but we're coming back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see all their great products in action. You've heard me say many times before, probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for pep rallies and home games, of course, but we also use it for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile and their customer service just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. Let's also say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just love the Huddle platform. Our student athletes love the videos, and our parents love the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the millions of users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. And don't forget to mention when you're visiting with our sponsors that you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast.
Yeah, Jake, just shout out to Huddle, one of your proud sponsors. We're a Huddle school here at Brown County, and it's a great product. Our coaches love it, and would encourage all the listeners to check them out.
Now, I'm curious, are you using Huddle from the coach, the video analysis, student video perspective? Are you doing anything else, doing ticketing or streaming, any of those features?
Yeah, we primarily use it for coach and player access. Our coaches love the scouting features that they offer. Our players love to, make their own highlight tapes that they can use for college recruiting and things like that. So that's primarily what we use it for. We have not used their ticketing platform. But, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I was an AD, those things were really just kind of getting started. So, but yeah, the kids in the videos, and we use them from the recruiting standpoint, but we also had kids making videos that were never going to go to college. They just wanted a highlight video that they could, look back on, somewhere down the road. For our listeners, our guest again is Josh Bowlds. He's the Director of Athletics for Brown County, Indiana Public Schools. Josh, you kind of took our listeners through your journey, kind of to decide between, the education path and sport management. You chose education, good for our industry. As you were getting ready to graduate, you'd mentioned you'd spoken with a couple of ADs in Indiana. Did you already have a job lined up somewhere, or was it sending out resumes, trying to find that first job?
Yeah, it was pretty much sending out resumes. Try to land that first job. I was, whenever I moved back to Indiana to get that education degree, I started coaching while I was still an undergrad, which was a great experience. It kind of got me plugged in a little bit more, I think, and gave me a little edge maybe on the resume that maybe some other graduates didn't have right out of college. And so, I was fortunate. My very first job out of college at 22 was AD at a K-12 private school in Western Kentucky. So I got thrown right into the fire and got my start there. I ended up doing that for 1 year and ended up coming back to Indiana after that. So, yeah.
Well, and again, that's a great example. I just got done saying about 5 minutes ago that you're not going to get hired as an AD right out of college.
Yeah.
Frequently, those smaller schools, whether it's faith-based or not, they're going to have those opportunities. And for somebody who says, oh, no, I don't want to do a small school. I want to be at a big, 5A, 7A school. You're really missing out on a great opportunity because those small schools, they're going to have the same opportunities. They're going to have the same challenges, if you will, that you'll find
Yeah.
at a big school, but again, not not to the degree that you're probably going to have to deal with them. Share an experience or two with our listeners, both let's say positive and challenging, from that first
Yeah.
year as an AD right out of college.
Yeah. You learn real quick that you don't have all the answers, and you just have to figure it out on the fly. Luckily for me, I had good people around me that made the job a little easier. But I think the biggest thing, and I tell this story all the time, is I was 22 years old, right out of college, first AD job, and I had a lot of veteran coaches that were 20, 30, 40 years older than me, and had been doing it for a long time. And you walk in as the new guy, and you're supposed to be their boss, and it can make for some challenging conversations at times. And you kind of have to learn how to navigate that, and realize it just takes time to gain people's trust too. So, yeah.
Since you opened that door, I'm going to go ahead and charge through it. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. And, my first AD job, I was in my early 30s. But again, it's that first AD job. And now you're
Yeah.
working with coaches that, you've known, they've known you as a coach, and they, in many
Yeah.
cases, have 10 or more years of experience on you.
Yeah.
How did you approach that? Crusty old coach that had done it his way or her way forever, and who's this youngster trying to tell me how to do my job?
Yeah, yeah. I think something I learned really quick is that it's kind of it can be a give and take at times with certain things. And I just let the coaches know that I had their back, and I was extremely visible and available. I wanted to make sure that they saw me, that they knew that I cared about their program, and they could come to me with concerns or needs, or, just to come in and vent. And so I made myself available and made myself visible. And I think I gained their trust pretty quickly. And then, I ask every coach, and I still do this, at the beginning of every year, give me three things that you want. And I try to make it a priority to at least get one of those three things done for every coach. And I think little things like that go a long way.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The talk is cheap, but being there, being seen, being visible, and as you mentioned, having their back. We're going to hear all about Brown County in our next segment, but what
Yeah.
was your next stop after that first time AD job in Kentucky?
Yeah. So after that year in Kentucky, I wanted to get back to Indiana. That was just kind of my roots and what I was familiar with. So moved back to Indiana, and actually went back. Well, I shouldn't say went back, but I taught for a year, took a teaching job, teaching business and coaching basketball in Indiana, and did that, and then was able to land another AD job in Indiana. So I bounced around a little bit early on. And I'll be entering my second year now at Brown County.
Mhm. Um, Talk a little bit about that other AD job. What was different about that position?
Yeah. So I got the, I guess, privilege I became the AD at my alma mater. And so that was kind of my connection there, is obviously I knew a lot of people there. And so small rural school, Southwestern Indiana, South Spencer High School. So I took the AD job there, and it was a great experience. A little bit smaller school, and again, I kind of, had my eyes set on maybe something bigger, and so the opportunity arose for me to move on, and that's what I did. But it was a great experience there at my alma mater. Obviously, I knew just about everybody in the building still from my days going to school there, and but again, that presented challenges too, right? I had coaches that coached me that I'm now walking in, having to be their boss. So um, that can be a challenging situation as well.
Now, I share this story frequently. Right out of college, I did a couple of years of subbing before I got that first full-time job, and I had the opportunity to come back and be a sub at my own high school. All my coaches, all my teachers were there. When
Yeah.
you came back to your school, what was the welcome? Again, was it what's this kid doing back here, or did they welcome you with open arms?
Yeah, I'd say majority. I was welcomed with open arms. I had pretty good relationship with a lot of the people there still, and so it was mostly positive. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear about your current position. So let's go and take another quick break. We'll be hearing from a couple sponsors, but please stay with us. We'll be back for more with our guest, Josh Bowlds, the athletic director at Brown County High School. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus for their support of the podcast. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day. Things like scheduling, rosters, communication with your coaches and kids, communication with your state association, facility management, even athletic clearance and eligibility. That one alone is a game changer. Home Campus does all of these things. And here's the cool thing. They do it better and they do it faster than the other platforms. Go to homecampus.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade with their video boards and technology, but their new content creation service takes it to a whole new level. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, click on Content Services. Take a look at all the things that they can do to help you bring your school's legacy to life. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Gipper is the modern marketing platform that makes it easy for you to share all the great things that your athletic department is doing. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. It's the #1 rated athletic marketing app, in part due to the thousands of professionally designed templates that you can then customize with your colors, your brands, your logo to create, share, and schedule all your social media content on one simple platform. And that platform is Gipper. Go to Gipper.com to get started. And once again, with all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast.
And Jake, just want to give a quick shout out to Gipper, another one of your proud sponsors. And I use Gipper every day in my office. Post to our social media. People love it. They make graphic creation easy and an easy way to share content. So shout out to Gipper.
Oh, again, you're very kind for doing that. And one of my taglines when I'm doing my shout outs is Gipper, it's so easy, even I can do it. Now,
Yes.
I'm the old retired guy. You're the younger, pup, new Generation Z or whatever. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're supposed to know how to use technology.
Yeah.
How on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the difficulty level of promoting your school using the Gipper platform?
I'd say it's a one. It's plug and play. They make it so easy to use. You can post to multiple platforms with one click.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to mess it up.
and I'm glad you add that. It is hard to mess it up. I would say for me,
Yeah,
it might be a 2, but again, it
yeah,
is incredibly easy. The platform's intuitive, and their customer service. When I was getting my training, I
yeah,
mean, I'm going to say it was less than 45 minutes, and I felt comfortable to navigate on my own. So thanks again for
yeah,
sharing. Yeah, go check out
sure.
Gipper.
Yeah.
All right. Our guest today is Josh Bowlds. He's a certified master athletic administrator, and he's the director of athletics for the Brown County Community School, Brown County High School in Indiana. Josh, let's take a deep dive into all things Brown County. Where's the location? What's the enrollment? How many teams do you have? And what are some things that you are particularly proud of about the Brown County Eagles?
Yeah. Um, so I'm the district AD here for I oversee K through 12 athletics for Brown County Schools, although we are a one high school district. So we have one high school, one middle school, and three outlying elementary schools. Um, we start most of our programming in the fifth grade. We do have some third and fourth grade teams that compete. So usually not anything younger than about the third grade. Um, but we're located right in pretty much south central Indiana. We're about an hour south of Indianapolis, right in the middle of the state. We're about a half hour from Bloomington, which is where Indiana University is. So situated in a nice location. Um, we
Oh,
offer 19 varsity sports. Um, we have pretty much every one of our varsity sports is accompanied with a junior varsity. We even have some freshman teams for a few of our sports, and pretty much all of our high school sports are reciprocated with a middle school program as well. And we have our enrollment's about 500 students in the high school, um, so that gives you an idea. Yeah,
oh no, that's great. Thanks for sharing. Um,
yeah,
and again, being at independent schools for much of my career here in Florida, we had full middle school programs, middle school sports, if you will. So I know how important that is. Um, Looking at it, as a district AD, um, is there a lot of, let's say, connection between the middle and the high school coaches? Do they work well together, or are they completely independent?
no, our there's a lot of connection. Our buildings set right across the parking lot from one another, so just proximity is great. We share a lot of facilities, and our varsity coaches are the majority of them are really invested in the middle school programs and working with those middle school coaches and trying to align their programs. So it's a nice model.
Mhm. What I'm always curious about, how athletic directors do this. I think one of the things that ADs love to do is provide professional development for their coaches, but sometimes they don't get a chance to do it either through budget reasons or time constraints. What are some
Sure.
things that you do as the AD to provide professional development experiences for your coaches?
Yeah, one thing that I started here is um, I offer to our coaches, I will pay for them to go to whatever clinic they want to go to once a year. I pay for their membership in their coaches association. And so we sponsor all of that as an athletic department because I think it's important that our coaches are one, plugged into their coaching networks, and two, that they have the opportunities to go get better and learn from others. And so, we offer financial support for that and encourage our coaches to attend those. I actually have my cross country coach is actually in Arizona right now at a running clinic. So yeah, it's we encourage it.
Hmm? Now, again, talking about coaches, we always talk about the value of having coaches who also teach or work on campus. And having said that, I've had some great walk-on coaches, who had jobs in the community but still coached at our school. Um, what
Yeah,
percentage of your coaches are also uh, on the school campus, either teaching or doing something else?
yeah. We're about 50%. Um, I have a good number of coaches that are teachers either in our building or over at the middle school. I have a couple of high school coaches that teach over at the middle school even. Um, but we're about 50% of our head coaches are teachers in the building.
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Um, Josh, we're going to do this at the end of the show, but I want to do it now too. If one of
Yeah.
our listeners wants to reach out and connect with you, maybe pick your brain a little bit or just add you to their network, what's the best way our listeners can get in touch with Josh Bowlds?
Yeah, probably email would be best. My email is jbolds@browncountyschools.com.
Okay. Well, and again,
So
we'll give
yeah.
out that information at the end of the show. We're going to take another quick break. I say that every week, and I know it's shocking to our regular listeners, but we are going to come back with more. So please stay with us for more of the Educational AD Podcast. We'd like to say thank you to Booster Hub, the #1 Booster Club software app. You know, if you work with your Booster Club, you know that volunteer signups and volunteer changes are almost a daily occurrence. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same thing's true for sponsorship fees and concession sales. Booster Hub does it all. Give your boosters the platform they need, give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. Go to boosterhub.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University. Talking about #1, their online masters in athletic administration is always one of the top rated programs. And one of the reasons is that the cohort experience is the graduates rave about it. They also rave about the projects, the curriculum, and the fact that while they're earning their degree, they also earn 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Continuing our streak of #1s, Hometown is still the #1 digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Their solutions also include fee-free fundraising through School Funder, athletic website construction. The Hometown list just goes on and on. Whether you're an athletic director, a head coach, even a principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time. They're going to show you how to raise more money, and they're going to show you how to bring your entire community together. You'll find it all at hometown.com. And guess what? Tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Josh, I've mentioned a couple of times, you are a certified master athletic administrator. And as I like to say, that doesn't happen by accident. Share, if you can, your journey, not just with NIAAA, but with your state association and, you know, how you feel it's impacted your career as an AD.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's invaluable, and it's really helped me to be where I am today. Um, I'm a proud member of the double IAAA here in Indiana, and fortunate enough to serve on our board of directors and the assistant chair of professional development with Rob Seymour. I don't know if you know Rob, but
Oh, yeah. Good friend. Been on the
yeah,
podcast many times.
yeah. So Rob and I coordinate professional development for Indiana, and so really plugged in there. And yeah, proud member of the NIAAA. Go to the national conference every year and taking close to 30 LTI classes. And took the CAA exam as soon as I was eligible after my second year. And Rob likes to tell me that I might be one of the fastest people to get my CMAA, as I just jumped right in and knocked it out. And yeah, so my project was on facility improvements. Um, so yeah. Yeah.
Now, let's go and start with the projects. You mentioned that. I know for people who have, it's like if you haven't taken the exam, it's just human nature. Oh, I don't know if I'll pass the exam. Yes, you will
Yeah.
pass the exam.
Yeah.
And with the project, it's, oh gosh, I don't know if I could do that. I'm telling you, and I was on the certification committee, the national certification committee, for a very long time.
Yeah.
Talking to listeners, you are already doing something at your school. Maybe it's with students or coaches or facilities or parents. You're already doing something that would make a great CMAA project. You just have to organize your thoughts and share the story of how you implemented that particular thing. So,
Yeah.
what was your project, and did you use the traditional written option, or did you use the oral presentation?
Yeah. So my project was on facility improvements that I oversaw at my previous school before I was here at Brown County. Um, but I outlined basically our three-phase facility plan that we had. Um, and so it made it really easy to get the project started because, like you said, I had already done a lot of the work. I just needed to put it in project format. So I actually started down the path of doing a written project, and my I guess advisor or mentor for my CMAA suggested, hey, how about you try the oral presentation? I think it might be easier for you to, just talk through it. And so I ended up just doing the oral presentation. Took the information I had and put it into a PowerPoint and was able to talk through it and answer questions. And, it was pretty seamless, really.
Now, you bring up a good point too. The project that you submitted and that was your CMA project was actually one at your previous school. It wasn't at the school you were at. And so you have a lot of flexibility as you're doing these projects. You can even do projects that have not come to fruition. This is my
Sure.
idea. This is how I'm going to do it, and outlining those steps. Um, every state has a certification coordinator. So if you have questions, go to the NIAAA website, look at that information, but then reach out to your state certification coordinator. If you want another perspective, please reach out to me. I still help people organize their CMA projects. Would love to be able to help you if you're listening. So, but again, start with your own state coordinator. Let's go backwards, talking about the LTI courses. You've got your CMAA. Obviously, you're still continuing to take courses. I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to tell me the number of the course because I can never keep those straight. But
Yeah.
what's one course or a lesson from a course that still sticks with you today? You can remember when you first heard about this facet of being an AD.
Yeah. Gosh, I always seem to take something from every course, but I think the one that sticks out to me, and actually I teach this one now too at our state conference, is 709, which is communication methods, and I took it at the national conference with Darren Coe from North Carolina, the
Oh yeah.
North Carolina guys. Him and I think Colin from North Carolina. Yeah, that great class. Kind of it opens your eyes and how we communicate with people, different stakeholders in different ways. And so it was just a lot of good tidbits in that class. So if you haven't taken 709, I encourage you to take it.
Oh no, great course. And you mentioned Darren Code, another friend of the show.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to take this year in Phoenix, if you haven't taken the middle school courses, if you have middle school programs in your school, I'll
Yeah.
be part of the faculty for 701. You can take 700 or 701. You don't have to take them in order. We'd love to see you in that course. But as Josh mentioned, all the courses are great. Some great nuggets, great information that you can take back to your school, to your coaches, to your program. Josh, this has just been so cool spending some time with you, getting to know you a little bit. But we're
Yeah.
not done yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. Now, even though, to quote Rob Seymour, you might be the fastest rising athletic director in the state of Indiana, I
Yeah.
think you know your way around the world of athletics. So we're going to take our final
Yeah.
break. We're going to hear from athletic surveys. And when we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new AD on their first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 items in their toolbox. So let's hear from athletic surveys. And when we come back, we're going to see what Josh Bowlds puts in his new athletic director toolbox. We'd like to say thank you to Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the AD Toolbox segment. Now, at my school, we use surveys for just about everything, for our student athletes, for our coaches, even for our parents. And here's the cool thing. The information that came back on these surveys, almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. The surveys also allowed us to hear from our squeaky wheel parents, but we got to hear their concerns, usually address them before they turned into something big. But going back to that positive data, incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, sometimes your principal, sometimes even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. And with all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Josh Bowlds. He's a certified master athletic administrator, director of athletics for Brown County Schools in Indiana. He's got a great background and really still at the beginning of his career. But right now, we're going to challenge him to send out a brand new AD on their first job. But I'm only going to let him put 3 items in the toolbox. So, Josh, what 3 tools are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
Yeah, it's hard to choose just 3, like you said, Jake, but I think I got it narrowed down here. So I'm gonna say number 1 is build your network. Um, I think it's extremely important that you get to know other ADs, get plugged into your state association, take the classes, get involved. Um, you know, you can't survive in this job on your own. It takes good people around you, and I have not met an AD that's not willing to help another AD because we all get it. And so build your network and get to know those people around you. So that's number 1. Number 2, and this is something that I've had to get better about over time, is make time to do the things that you enjoy in your job. As I think this job has a lot of that, kind of that day-to-day grind where you can kind of just get bogged down. And, I'm sure we didn't all just get into this just to, schedule games and schedule officials and, balance books and things like that. I think we probably got into it for other reasons. And so for me, it's make the time to do the things you enjoy. And for me, that's interacting with our coaches and our kids. And so, I started a student athlete leadership team here at Brown County. I meet with those kids regularly, and it's an intentional way for me to get out of my office and interact with our student athletes and hear from them. And so, make the time to do those things. And then my last one is just kind of a philosophical thing that I've had to do as well, and it kind of goes along with my second one. It's shifting the mindset from being a manager to being a leader. And so I think a lot of ADs get stuck in that manager mode, and we're just trying to put out fires and manage things, and maybe we're not actually leading our program in the right direction or steering it in a certain way. And so I just encourage ADs to shift your mindset. You're a leader of people. Our coaches are leaders of people, and so don't be a manager, be a leader.
Boy, I love all of them, and I guess I was going to rank them. The
Yeah,
one where you talked about make sure you take time to enjoy the job. We do have a great job.
yeah,
It's not like we're digging ditches or working manual labor. And
yeah,
not to say the people who do that don't enjoy it, but
yeah,
don't let the challenges get you down, because we've got a great job. You
yeah,
emphasize the importance of being a leader over a manager, and there is a lot of minutia in our job. We just talked about it, but
yeah,
as the director of athletics, you are leading others, and you mentioned networking right off the top. That's probably the number 1 tool I recommend for people getting started and people who are in the profession, is building that network to just add to your enjoyment of the job, creating new relationships, new friendships, and also new resources, people that can help you do the job so you can enjoy it better. Oh, great,
yeah,
great tools. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
One more time, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and connect with you, or just as we talked about, add you to the network, what's the best way that our listeners can connect with Josh Bowlds?
Yeah, and feel free to email me at jbolds@browncountyschools.com. I'm also on Twitter or X. I'm at AD_Bolds. So
Hmm.
if you're on social media, you can connect with me there too.
I'm making sure we might already be connected, but I'm writing that down so I can share and add you
Yeah.
to my X universe. Well,
Yeah.
Josh, thanks again for spending some time of your summer break with our listeners. All the best moving forward. Hopefully, between you and Seymour, I might actually get an invitation to come and present at the Indiana conference. I was
Yeah.
just at Iowa this year,
Yeah.
so I'm getting closer. But
Yeah.
either way, thanks again for coming on. We're definitely going to have to get you back and do an update.
Yeah. Sounds great. Love the show and would love to come back. So
Okay.
thanks for
Well,
having me.
you just got elevated to friend of the show status with that comment. So,
Yeah.
all right. For our listeners, we know that you're friends of the show too. And just a reminder that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories along with some best practices for the world of athletics. But please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.